The 2014 Honda Pilot. The 2014 Honda Pilot has a lot going for it, and buyers will be wise to open a space in their minds to this mid-sized SUV. Here's the thing, the Pilot may be classified as such, but really there are hints of full-sized characteristics in this baby. Start with the interior, which has ample enough space to comfortably fit up to 8 passengers. That's full-sized right there. Also factor in the typical Honda stamp of reliability and fuel efficiency, which, again, is a star on the Pilot's windshield. It's hard to find a whole lot of things to be wary of on the Pilot. But if there is one, you have to look outside where the Pilot isn't exactly lighting the world on fire with its aesthetics. Sure, the dimensions are right, and it does have nice maneuverability, but the fascia looks totally boring. Still in all, buyers who have to think of family trips on their next SUV purchase would be wise to consider the Pilot, snoozy looks notwithstanding. Click past the jump to read more about Honda Pilot. Exterior. The fascia is arguably the weakest link of the Honda Pilot's full package. Actually, it's those sleepy-looking eyes that will practically doze off anytime the SUV is mired in traffic. The boxy and upright look also doesn't do much in the way of tickling our aesthetic senses either. When you compare it to SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Toyota Highlander, two rivals that have been refreshed cosmetically, the Pilot doesn't hold up. But as far as practicality goes, that's where the Pilot makes a comeback. See, the upright look of the SUV comes with a purpose. It's got a relatively long wheelbase, short overhangs and generous interior space. Plus, those 17 and 18-inch steel or alloy wheels are nothing to sneeze at. Just because it looks pretty bland, doesn't mean Honda doesn't know where the Pilot's actual strengths are. 2014 Honda Pilot, exterior specification. Interior. Hop into the cabin of the Honda Pilot and immediately, you begin to understand why this might be a full-size SUV disguised in midsize clothing. Space and legroom are no issues for the Pilot because it can accommodate as many as 8 passengers, something only full-size SUVs can boast of. Up front, the design of the dashboard is really a shining example in efficiency. There are no wasted spaces, only controls that are logically placed on where they should be. Honda doesn't care much for fancy consoles with complicated buttons, knobs, and control switches. Cargo capacity could be a little better, but that shouldn't be a problem if the rear seats are folded down. You can call this a simple cabin with plenty of room to spare, but that only underscores just how Honda allocated all that equipment into that space. 2014 Honda Pilot, interior specification. Drivetrain. The 2014 Honda Pilot's 3.5-liter V6 engine isn't the most powerful powertrain in its class. But that's a drawback that we're prepared to let pass. After all, 250 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque out of that 6-banger isn't all that bad. Besides, the Pilot is pretty responsive for an SUV carrying all that weight, a welcome trait given how some of these SUVs tend to get a little rough around the edges in not-so-ideal driving conditions. No performance numbers have been thrown out, but given its makeup and engine characteristics, we think the Pilot can cover 0 to 60 miles per hour in a little over 9 seconds to go with a top speed of around 125 miles per hour. Not too shabby. 2014 Honda Pilot, drivetrain specification. Suspension. A fully independent suspension and responsive rack and pinion steering makes for a smooth and comfortable ride on the Pilot. Add the stability on long drives and better than expected handling on tough roads and you won't have too many problems on how the Pilot behaves when it's out and about. Prices. Pricing for the Honda Pilot goes from $29,670 for the base LX2WD all the way up to $41,420 for the top-of-the-line Touring 4WD with Res and Navi model. Competitors. 2014 Chevrolet Traverse. The newly refreshed 2014 Traverse may not be the crown jewel of Chevy's lineup, but it does hold its own appeal as a crossover version of the more popular Suburban. For starters, it features seating for 7 or 8 passengers depending on seating options and is actually quite comfortable on the highway. Power is handled by GM's 3.6-liter V6, producing a stout 281 horsepower. But with that comes a caveat: the Traverse's fuel efficiency numbers aren't what you'd expect from an SUV in its class, just 17 city, 24 highway, yet it certainly makes up for it by its massive girth and impressive towing capabilities. Starting price runs $30,795 and escalates to a competitive $45,000 for a four-wheel drive LTZ model. 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe. The Hyundai Santa Fe is a strong competitor that carries it with a fresh new look for the sunshine. It's capable of only seating 6, but a stout 3.3-liter V6 making 290 horsepower and getting 18, 25/21 mpg city, highway, combined gets some good marks from us. And like every Hyundai, the Santa Fe comes with the famous 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. As far as the aesthetics goes, the Santa Fe is clearly more appealing than the Pilot, and while Honda is noted for its reliability, Hyundai's slowly creeping up those ranks, too. Starting price for the base GLS trim is $29,900 and grows close to $37,000 for an AWD in limited trim. Conclusion: the Honda Pilot makes no bones about what it is and what it's not. It doesn't care too much for the exterior aesthetics more than it does providing families with a comfortable mid-sized SUV that checks a lot of domestic requirements. It's got the space, the clever simplicity, and the impressive handling credentials that'll definitely attract its share of buyers. Love it, lots of trim options to choose from, appropriately priced. Leave it, not the strongest engine in the class, looks boring, roomy interior, lacks cargo room.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.